Hey guys, this is Robert Dailey with the Recreational Woodworker. Today it's time to finally tackle my miter saw station. I built my miter saw station that I have now based on my perfectly boring workbench concept of just simple, throw it together, get it working. It originally held, it originally held my the new model of the rigid dual bevel sliding compact saw, the 10-inch. I didn't like that. I actually had the old version that worked in my Paulk Total Station that I used whenever I did work in the field. So I put this saw here because I liked it better. The dust collection is not as good on it, but overall it's a better saw. But unfortunately, this is discontinued. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, so what I did is I have an 8-foot workbench that's 3 foot deep. That allows for the slide mechanism to go there. And yeah, it'd be nice to go closer to the wall and all that kind of stuff. However, I find it's also really good for stuff like this right here that you can't see. So let me get to where you can see it. That it's really good for stuff like this of my bench grinder. I can slide it back past the fence because I don't have a rear fence here and keep it in place. I have my drawers, and these actually made really long. This holds like my shipping stuff, those big rolls. So I have a big 3 foot deep drawer, and there are some real advantages to that. So I don't mind having a 3 foot counter going around my shop. You can see over here, this has become the catch-all where stuff gets piled up. And yeah, that's a mess. Like, see how much mess that is? That's chaos, and I need to do something about it. So today I am going to rebuild my miter saw station. How am I going to rebuild it? I am going to upgrade and fix up my Paulk Total Station. I built my Paulk Total Station 3 years ago, and it's done great. I liked it on the field. I liked it in the job. I used to use them in my shop. If you go back and look at some of my older videos when I first moved in this shop, you'll notice I have basically what's a Paulk Smart Bench, but the old version, which was my original Total Station. That was the first thing I ever built. Really, it wasn't built that great, but I just put a solid top on it to be a small workbench, and I had my Total Station with my miter saw stand, table saw outfeed, and router table. That was my first workbench. Benches in the shop. I then, as I upgraded, I went to my perfectly boring concept, which I like. It's good, but it sagged over time because I didn't enforce it. I'm going to rebuild one of those in the future, do a full video on it, update the plans so that if you're just getting into woodworking, you can build a good strong workbench, which is minimal tools and super quickly and get up and going. But for my miter saw station, I'm really going to copy Ron Paulk's smart station concept and update and upgrade my Paulk Total Station, put it on a rolling base, and that's going to be my miter saw station. You see, right now, my track is basically a micro jig dovetail slot, and then I have a super simple stop block. This actually works really good. It's a really strong stop block, but it's big, it's clunky. I bought this from Shop Hacks, but I never did do the tape here, and it didn't really work in this track. It's made for a T-track. I might still use this because I do like how that just flips, but probably not. I'm probably going to go back to Ron's original idea. And what I did is I think it's 10 feet this way, and then I have about 10 feet that way. I don't worry about supporting over here because basically once I can balance the board, this is about 3.5-ish feet. That's enough for most boards to balance and trim the edge, slide it down, full support, cut to its final dimension. But here's the thing, I was thinking about this, and yes, I want to support the boards to the cut, and Ron pointed this out as well, is how long are your bulk repeat cuts? If I'm cutting something long, it's normally for a big face frame, I might cut 1 or 2, right? Well, I could set a stop block up for that, but for 1 or 2, it's just as easy to measure, like say that 86 inches, cut it, measure 86 inches, cut it, and then I'm done. But then whenever I'm doing like rails and stiles, I'm cutting all within, say, 4 feet, like the 4 or 5 feet that this is. And I think that's all I'm gonna do for my miter saw support. That way I can roll things around a little bit easier, because I don't want things locked down. So I'm gonna get my Paulk workbench, or my Paulk Total Station up and going, get my miter saw fit to it again so I can use it, and then we're gonna start detailing it out with the smart fences, Ron's new fence idea. I think I've got some fast cap tape around here somewhere. I hope I do, so I can go ahead and do the tape measure. If not, I'll just order some so I can actually get the tape measure installed. And then we're gonna tear this guy out. This whole wall I'm gonna tear out, build a rolling base for it. It's gonna be the same height as everything. That way I can just roll my miter saw station against the wall, roll it around my shop, because I'm not sure I wanna leave it there. And if there's one thing I've learned about working in a small shop, it's put everything on casters. And we have a bunch of casters waiting right here, ready to go. All right, let's get started. Hey guys, so I got the top attached. I've got my miter base started, and I want to give you an update on what I'm doing. I'm not showing every detail of this because I kind of want to keep this video shorter, and sometimes I think it's just easier telling you about what I've done than walking you through what I'm doing, because I'm kind of inventing this thing as I go. And this is what works for me. I think Ron has a different set or a different idea in his plans that you can follow, but this is what I'm doing. Okay, so I have my base attached. I just used some, let's zoom in close there, some finish head star torque screws that I put in there. Got everything cut out. You can see where I traced, whoops, sorry, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. You can see where I traced my old Total Station cutout. I might need to go back to that, but what I did is I just went to the dog hole because I thought that gave me a really nice round over. I did chamfer these edges a little bit, and if I have to go back and cut that out with a jigsaw, I will. So for the platform, here's what I did. Before, with the old style Total Stations, the saw set flush with the tabletop here. With the new extension wings I'm doing and following the the Paulk Smart Station concept of the transformer benches, I'm going to add wings that are just going to sit on top. So I need to raise this up 18 millimeters or one piece of 3/4 inch plywood. So I just put a shelf right here. The shelf holds nice and tight. It allows me to have a little storage underneath. I could make a pocket, but I don't like that idea. I'll probably put something right here underneath that I can easily get to. And then I just took scrap plywood, cut my base, I sanded, I rounded over all the edges, and then I put a lip right here on the front. I did put some dominoes in this to get it perfectly aligned. That is totally not necessary. And then once I had it clamped together, I just shot it with some nails to hold it together. The dominoes give the strength, the nails do the clamping, the glue does the holding. So that slides in like this, and then my miter saw will just sit on top of it, and then I'll be able to slide my miter saw in and out, and I'll probably wax that so it slides really good. Now I have two more issues. I need to hold it to keep it from sliding out. I need to, well, three issues. I need to prevent it from tipping up like that. And two, I've got just about a millimeter of play here, and I don't want to recalibrate my I don't want to have to recalibrate my saw every single time I use it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my domino, set it on its deepest setting, and plunge all the way through this and into this base. This way, whenever I can come in, and when I slide it forward, it'll have to align with those holes. Those two dominoes will be under here. I'll put my dominoes right here underneath, sticking that way, and that will lock it together nice and tight. And hopefully, you can see the problems that you get with this stuff. That will align it well. It won't stop the tipping, but then I can just easily do something here on the back, create some type of lip that holds down, put some type of cam there. Still worrying about that, but right now I've about got this. I'm gonna put those dominoes in now. GoPro. Okay, here's what I did. I've got my dominoes in. These are 6x40, so it's a lot longer than what I need. I'm gonna take my top and I'm gonna put it on. There we go. And use some persuasion. Now I'm going to get my flush cut saw and cut those off. If you don't have one of these little pull saws, they are fantastic. In my toolkit on my website, the recreationalwoodworker.com/toolkit, I have a link to this saw and all the other tools that I really like. This thing's like, I think $10, $15. It's well worth it to have in your toolkit. So I'm going to flush cut this off. Nothing is glued yet. And I just cut my thumb like an idiot. All right, don't cut your thumb. There we go. That does that. Now I'm gonna pull this out. And yes, okay. So that's nice and tight how I want it. So those are flush cut now. I'll do the other ones later. Now I'm gonna drive these out and then glue them back in place. All right, guys, I am really happy with how this works. So it just slides in here, it aligns, and it just pushes in nice and easy. I barely even feel it. There's no play. That wiggle you saw was just from the bench itself on this rolling cart. But that is going to index perfectly every single time. And now I'm ready to mount my miter saw. So I've got my saw mounted and I did screw it down. I kind of wish I didn't now. But I'm seeing whenever I pivot it all the way over this way, and I've got it skewed one direction, and I think that was partly a mistake, that I can't quite get the 60 degrees I'm hitting right there, so I'm gonna probably end up cutting that out. But I've got a lever right there that does my bevel, so that's possibly an issue. And then when I come to the left, I hit my bevel adjustment right there. I rarely do that, but I don't want any of that to hit. Let me get my square and I'll mark that off. So all I'm gonna do is not sure, let me unscrew this. And this is part of the process of fitting your saw. You'd have to do this with every saw. Luckily, it's easy enough to do. So let's skew that over to this side. And right there. Okay, so that lets me see my mark. And I'm just gonna do this with a jigsaw and then clean it up. There's my line. And in an ideal world, I would have had this tight, but I kind of just followed my old lines, and my old fences did what I need them to do whenever they came in tight. So that works there. Now I'll just come, and we'll just come flush with that. I'll probably put like a flush trim bit there to really flush it up nicely. Right there. Okay. All right, so here was my mark for where the saw stopped. I decided to go ahead and come back 2 inches on both. I just thought probably will look a little bit better. Okay, so jigsaw, fine tooth blade, just gonna carefully cut this out. Okay, that's good. All right, here's my saw again. I'm gonna come in. Good, 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 good. Okay, so it looks like I'm still gonna have it flush right there. And right here, that is at, nope, not quite at 60 yet, are we? There's 60. So there's 60 right there. Okay. Everything's flush. That just barely clears right there. I'm not too thrilled with that. Guess I just need to go buy a K-Pex, right? I wish. Alright, so that's flush right here. Get our camera where we can see what we're doing. You can see right here, got just, it sticks out a little bit right there. Notched out. It just barely clears right there. So I'm gonna screw this down, and I think it was in the same place it was before actually. So I'm gonna screw it down, bolt it down, and then move on to my extensions, because that should be done. Wait, no, I've got to stop it from coming out. Okay, so here's what's going on now. I've got the saw attached, and I did something I didn't like, but it's what I needed to do for now. Is I did just run a Kreg screw in right here to hold it in place, keep it from coming out. There's ways to wedge it. I think I'm just gonna buy like little pins that I can just drop in. I'll leave them permanently attached. When I push it in place, I'll just drill through this hole a little bit bigger, and then whenever I put it in, drop the pin in, it's there. When it's time to pull it out, pull the pin out. I think that'll work really well. Now I need to work on the extensions. These extensions right here are basically my sacrificial saw boards that I had, and they are 70 inches long. The inside of this is about 71 inches. I wanted everything to fit inside of it. This actually would come out right here, and I think give me about 7 feet, but you can see it's just a little bit too bouncy over there. I could easily put a support under it, but I want my miter saw in the shop to have no supports so I can easily do it. And realistically, I could probably get away with just this, but I figure if I did about 3 feet or maybe a meter, just maybe do meters because it's metric, then I could have a nice steady thing without too much overhang that would stay flat. So that's what I'm gonna do. And if it works, it works. If not, then we'll come back with plan B. So I'm gonna make these guys up using the same parf guide system, all that kind of good stuff, and we will figure it out from there. All right guys, I am almost done with this, and I'll let me walk you through what I've done. I now have my fence where it's level with this guy. I think I might be a little bit low here. I haven't actually put a level on it to check, but I think I remember intentionally making the base a little bit low so I could actually shim it up level. And so that's a little tip and trick if you're not sure exactly how to get it perfect, or you doubt your ability to get it perfect, because hey, it's hard to make perfect cuts all the time. Something might be off a millimeter, half a 16th here, half a 16th there, and those little inaccuracies add up. So maybe make it like 1/8 of an inch lower than you need it, and then shim it up with some shims. But right now that feels pretty good to the hand right there. Feels pretty good here. To reiterate everything we have, I just put a Kreg screw right there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little pull pin in there. I just gotta find one and get it. My domino helps me get aligned. Once that's screwed in, this thing is rock solid. Did one over here, it's easy to drive in. To keep it from tipping, I just put a block right there. I thought about doing one on the other side, but I decided that really just wasn't necessary. The extension wings, I'm still working on them. I've got them about right. Let me show you how they go in real quick. So I'm gonna wait until I get my dog holes from TSO. This is my Insta-rail square. I don't know what's going on there. This is my Insta-rail square. I've talked about it before about how it needs a little piece of tape to be accurate. These bench dogs that it came with, they fit okay. It's got a little bit of play in there, but not a lot, not enough to matter really. But what I do is I didn't put any holes here, and I did this with the same parf guide system. I chamfered everything, sanded it down. This is I built this with plywood I had on hand. I really think I would like to build these out of some pre-finished birch. So it matches this, has a nice finish on it. But these aren't too hard to make, so I can always make some more. I didn't put any holes here because I'm gonna have a T-track routed into here and a tape measure for the stop blocks. So I didn't want anything right there, but I did want some holes out here. That way I can clamp to it if I need to. These holes line up perfectly, and that's just the kind of the beauty of this whole system, is everything lines up. And now that this aligns with dominoes, and then it's screwed down, so it's going to be in the exact same position every time. This I'll align with the dog holes, and what I'll do is whenever I get my new ones, I'll just align here and there as far away as possible. The further away you can get when you're lining stuff, the more accurate it'll be. But that just drops in. You can see there's just a tiniest little play in there, not a lot, but those tighter fitting bench dogs would definitely help. And then that'll align that. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably come through and put a 1/4 bolt, recess it, and put a knob underneath. That's what Ron did in his videos, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I would love it if I can get, he's got a prototype right now. It's yet to come to market, but it's a bench dog that has a little flange on the end that pulls flat, and it will pull flush with the surface. You screw it on with a knob, and then I can just use 2 bench dogs to screw that on, hold this extension in perfect place, and that would be fantastic. So what do I have left to do on my track? Not a lot, other than what I've just told you. So you can see this sticks off a little bit, and I want to talk to you about why I chose, and I've got my camera on wide right now, that's why it's a little bit fish-eyed, but I wanted to get as much in the frame as possible. Why did I go so short? Because I don't really need anything longer than this. This gives me, let's see, that's 1,024 millimeters is what I chose. And I chose that because it was on that 32. I then found my center point, and I then did one this way. I think this was just over 12 inches. Tape measure, where are you? Yeah, let me show you what I did here. So yeah, so it's about 12 and 5/8 of an inch, which ended up being 320 millimeters. You can see that's based on the 32 millimeter system. And that comes out, gives me plenty of support for any boards I have, about 8.5 inches of board support. That's more than half of a 1x12, so that's supported there. I came in, how I determined this measurement was I just lined it up with where these holes were right here, and I just roughly halved it. I don't care that there's a little bit of a gap right here. That's not an issue because my stop block is only going to come to here anyway, and then I'll have to create some type of story pole for right there. What else is going on here? So as far as complete depth of cut where I can do the stop block, set you right there. Depth of cut where I can use my stop blocks, let me see. This ends up being 4 feet, about 1,300 millimeters or 51.25 inches. So I can probably get with the stop block, I can probably get right at 4 feet of repetitive cuts. And again, for 99% of what I do, I'm gonna be over here in this 20, anywhere from like about 16 to 32. So realistically, I didn't even need to do the extensions. But this way, I don't need any supports. I don't have to support this in any way. It's gonna hold nice and tight once I get those clamps and get it bolted into place. If I do go longer, I'll probably make some 6-foot ones of these so they fit under here. That would get me, about where I need it to be, because that starts in, so that'd get me almost 7 feet of cut capacity. I don't really need anything more than this, so I think I'm going to leave it like this. It's going to take up way less room in my shop. So now we have to come over here and we need to notch this out. So I think I'm just going to follow this angle right here and cut off just an angle right there. And then what else do I need to do? I might do, I don't know, I might do something with this circle right here so it's a nice little thing. Clean that up. I'll probably wax this, give it a little bit of protection, because I'm probably not gonna remake these anytime soon. And yeah, so far I am super duper happy with my new miter saw station. I'm gonna start working on the rolling base now, which is gonna be based on the Perfectly Boring workbench, but fixed up a little bit. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching all these videos that I'm making over really just souping up my shop, making it better, making it smarter, taking up less space where I need to take up less space. And so far I'm really happy with it. This being on wheels after I'm done with it is going to really open up some options, because I think I'm going to do something a little counterintuitive with regards of my miter saw placement that you don't see in a lot of shops, because everybody else puts it against the wall. Thinking about doing something different, combining it with my table saw in some way, but you'll have to see the next video to see that. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. I appreciate you watching these videos. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, ring the bell, and go to our Facebook group, the Recreational Woodworker. Join us there. I post more daily vlogs and videos, little short 1 minute, 2 minute clips of what we have going on over there, and as well as you get to join that woodworking community. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.